Hey people, do you know what to do with an 1176 or any compressor? Can you actually tell when it's active and what it's doing? This is my take on the 1176 and the three ways I use it usually for my mixes: punchiness, control, and grittiness. People, this is Ripple Masters, and in this video I'm going to tell you the ways I use the 1176. Obviously, there are many ways on you can learn about the 1176. There are many tutorials out there, but this is the way I use it on my mixes, and it has worked for me very good. So I hope it helps you on your productions. Come on, let's check it out. So people, there's 5 things you must know about the 1176 that you gotta learn how to use. First one is the input gain, the output gain, the attack, the release, and lastly, the ratio. So come on, let's check it out. So the first one is the input gain. This means how much signal are you letting into the compressor. The second one is the output. How much signal are you letting out of the compressor after it being compressed. So there's 2 things you gotta take into account when you're just turning it on. First of all, don't be afraid of cranking up those knobs, right? The meter is gonna tell you if it's a lot, if it's not too much, but don't be afraid. Just try it out and you will listen. If it's too much, the sound will distort. So first of all, don't be afraid. Second of all, when you're using a compressor, try to listen to it when it's on and when it's off, right? The amount of volume you listen to it should be the same. When it's on, when you hear an amount of volume, you're like, okay, this is how it sounds when it's on. Then you turn it off. If the volume lowers it, then you gotta start tweaking the input and the output gains so that both signals are at the same level. This will help you understand exactly what the compressor is doing instead of just cranking up the volume. So people, the next 2 parameters that we're going to talk about are the attack and the release. In my opinion, these are one of the most important ones because it will determine what I can do with the compressor, what I want it to do to the sound. So the attack is how fast your compressor is going to start acting on the audio wave. And the release is how fast your compressor is going to stop acting on this audio wave. How fast it's going to start compressing and how fast my compressor is going to stop actually compressing the audio wave. So you can see on the wave, it's like a little pyramid where the attack moves on the wave, and the same with the release on top of the wave. This is where I'm being more careful, or this is where I pay more attention to, because it's going to determine if I want the sound to be more punchiness, or if I want the sound to have more body, and maybe this is where I'm gonna want the sound to be more control and have more compression during the whole wave. So for example, if I want more punchiness out of the sound, or if I want more body out of the sound, what I do is a slow attack. When I do a slow attack, it will help me keep the transient that the sound wave comes with, and it's gonna keep it bigger. It's not gonna crunch it because it's not gonna start from the beginning. It's gonna start a little bit late. That's why I do a late attack or a slow attack. Since we have a slow attack and it's gonna keep my transient the way it came into the sound, when I do a fast release, it means my compressor is gonna stop very fast and it's gonna continue the wave how it's supposed to be. It's not gonna make it bigger, so the sound is gonna stop where it's supposed to be. That gives me time for the next wave, so the compressor doesn't act all the time. So when I have a fast release, it's gonna actually give me time for the compressor to stop compressing and receive the next transient the way it's supposed to be. And we're doing a good compression for every wave of the sound that you're using. These will give more punchiness, either if it's a percussion instrument or if it's an instrument like the guitar or the bass, it will give more body to it. The other way is if I use a fast attack and a slow release. For me, or my intention many of the times that I use it this way, is to control the transient. Sometimes the musician is not very skilled while playing, so the transient or the way he strikes his instrument sometimes is not constant. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. So when I use a fast attack, it will control that transient and will not go crazy on my audio, right? So one of the things is to control the transient, meaning control the audio that you're using. And I use a slow release because what it does, instead of going fast, it goes slow. It will keep my whole audio wave control every time that I need it. So this is the way I use it. Obviously, you can start listening if you use a fast attack and a slow release. Sometimes it's too slow, so just start listening and seeing where the attack and the release are actually good for your mix. Depending on the type of genre or the type of music you're actually mixing to, compression is going to help you a lot. If you want body and punchiness, for example, when you're doing a rock song or when you're doing a pop song where you need that kick in your face, the slow attack and the fast release are going to help you to build that body, to build that punchiness. But for example, if you're doing more like a wave or something more melodic and you need the sound to be full on, if you use a fast attack and a slow release, it will keep the compressor more time during the sound wave, and it will help you have more body for that type of music. So the last thing that I check on always is the ratio, right? So if you can see in the 1176, there are 4 options. There's 4, 8, 12, and 20. What does that basically mean? It means that 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1, and 20 to 1. What it means is that for every 4 dBs that it compresses, 1 dB is let out. For every 8 dBs that it makes a compression on, it lets 1 dB out, or it lets sound 1 dB, or it lets up 1 dB. In my opinion, after 10 is just a limiter because it's compressing so much, it's not letting anything out, right? So my recommendation is usually use 4 if you want more compression or more to reduce more the dynamic range with an 1176, then do 8. But 12 and 20 are more like a limiter. And be careful, don't squeeze too much your sound, right? Let it more natural, right? Okay guys, so the last setup that I use usually with the 1176 is the British mode, right? What does that mean? It means all your ratios are gonna be pressed on, right? You don't use just one, use them all. What happens is gonna give more grittiness, it's gonna give more aggressiveness to the sound, right? Why does this happen? There are many theories about it, but basically when I had the 1176 in front of me, like a real 76, an analog one, my perception of what I thought the gear was doing is actually cranking up the circuits, right? When you press them all, it's so much power to the gear that it just gives this power, this punchiness, this aggressiveness, this grittiness to all the sound that comes in through it, right? So if I used it a lot on the guitars, because sometimes I record a guitar with the amplifier and I love what the amplifier is doing. I don't want to put any distortion on it, but then I pass it through an 1176. I use the British mode and it gives this power to the guitar, this grittiness, this heaviness, this body, and it sounds very natural because it's not distortion by effect, it's distortion by amplification, by circuit. So that's basically how I use it. Sometimes the same happens with the plugin. Even though it's just a plugin in the software, it's a very reliable way to use an 1176 that if you don't have the gear. And the other way you use it basically is on parallel compressions. It helps for the body within the mix. So I hope you go try it out, test it, see if it works for your song, see if it works for an instrument. Sometimes you want those snares very gritty, very aggressive. You can use that. You can use the British mode for your snares to mix it really build up that snare. So go try it out, go try all the different instruments and see what happens. So people, those are the 3 ways that I use, or that I usually use, the 1176 on my mixes. Obviously there are many other ways you can use your 1176. Sometimes I just put it on the track to give color without cranking any knobs. Just put it in, it will give a certain color to the sound that you're using. There are many ways, and you can research a lot on the internet, on YouTube, about the 1176. But in my opinion, this is, if you know nothing about the 1176, these 3 ways are gonna help you, are gonna help your mixes, are gonna help for you to start if you're not familiar with compression. So I really hope you try them out. I really hope that what I tell to you today helps you on your mixes. And guys, remember, be cool, leave a comment, be nice with each other, and if you have any questions, you just put them down there. Give a like, subscribe. It helps me a lot to do what I love, which is music and mixing and producing. And guys, I hope to see you on the next one. So see you, bye bye.